Konnichiwa, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the exciting installment of Memories of the Cherry Blossom Throne. This evening's scene will see a young Corvid, freshly arrived from the provinces, making his way steadily towards the whitewashed walls of Kyoto proper. The first and most immediate thing that will become apparent to the young, or rather to the new Corvid in question, is the fact that the road is bustling. Many dozens of individuals all seem to be heading towards Kyoto. They carry with them great sachets of rice. Many of them are bedecked in fine silks and have fine wares for sale. You see the glint of gold, the whisper of silver, and the smell of incense. Everyone is in a cheerful and joyous mood, and if you ask, it is because the festival is coming, the festival of the falling leaves. The Emperor has declared a grand day of celebration, and so it is that the people gather to celebrate.
Adam Mifune, hopefully that is how it is pronounced, looks at the scene with new eyes. He is a stranger in a strange land. So strange that he even has a name that does not hail from these shores, but simply name he picked up because it looked funny. He crosses the street, he mingles with the bustling crowds, not really understanding why they're in so much of a hurry or why these structures have been built up so high, but obviously it must have some sort of meaning. Even though he may be ignorant of it, everything happens for a reason, right? In any case, he's been told by various contacts, those in the know, that he ought to go ahead and make for an auspicious inn in an auspicious quarter of the city, the Grinning Fox. And so he makes his way plain as day there. Well, his steps don't necessarily cause a lot of reverberation in the crowd. He is naturally stealthy, possibly just because of his spiritual lineage, possibly because he's just a fucking soft-spoken man. Who knows?
It's rather interesting as you walk through the merchant's district. Once again, you hear many voices calling many wares. Come, honored sir, look, these are fine jewels and fine opals. Came fresh from the boat from Nagasaki this morning. And other individuals selling rice and noodles, bento boxes, etc. However, when you eventually turn, you turn down one of the large roads that adjoins the wall of the city, and you simply see a small, rather unadorned sign that says the Grinning Fox jutting out from the wall itself, and there is but a simple, humble door laid off to the left underneath the sign. It is not grand, it is not in any way annunciative of its presence. It really is.
It merely is. Is it appropriate to go ahead and knock here, or is it more appropriate just to go ahead and stroll on in?
It is not a door, in fact, it is two flaps of silk, so you can easily push your way under it.
All right, he goes ahead and does so.
Very good. As you do so, you immediately are greeted by a space that is just beyond the wall, a space that has no windows that lead outwards, and a space that has the very subtle hint of spiritual presence. You can almost scent it on the air. It is definitely here. Maybe this world is both worlds at once, or maybe it is just the spiritual world touches this world. At the center of the large courtyard you stand in, you see a grand pond filled with fish. Fish koi, beautiful, many colors. They seem to dance in their own way as they wend and twist or simply sit under the water that sparkles under the noonday sun. It is rather pleasant. All around you, there are a number of small yashiki buildings. These are simply small pagodas, if you will, that have light adornments and individuals finding their comfort and their leisure there. At which point you hear from behind you a very faint rustle of silk as you see a female attendant kneeling down, looking towards the ground. She will bow deeply as you enter and she will say, "Ah, konnichiwa, honored sama. Welcome."
Mm, Mafi Adam, because I am a lazy American, is going to go ahead and rest his arms and rest his hands in his own cloak. Go ahead and look at the attendant. Try not to be an asshole to obviously a servant of the establishment. And he says it with a practice, but it is a very hard practice that goes ahead and marks him as a foreigner. He goes instead and says, "Konnichiwa. I come here from abroad. I wish to rest my head."
Ah, honored sir is more than welcome. Please, may we offer food, sake, tea?
He nods his head like once and then twice and then hesitantly a third time, and then he realizes nodding his head isn't actually a mannerism worthy of keeping track of. He just says yes, yes, yes. That would be much appreciated.
As honored sir wishes. Will you please step this way?
Adam will go ahead and follow him. His arm still resting in his cloak as a bird who has already gone ahead and rested his wings upon itself.
You hear a voice call out from one of the pagodas where you will see this woman is kind of relaxing with her arm up on a padded rest, so she kind of hoists herself up without having to get up from her laying position. And she'll say, "Sukanai, you can bring that one over to me. He will be my guest." "Yes, my lady, as you would have it be." She will bow and she will lead you towards the woman.
All right. To go ahead and be directed towards the woman as you go ahead and say, his eyes are. Well, obviously there are bags under his eyes. Obviously, the road has not been the kindest to him, and he is a bit weird, weird travel. He's tired. Okay, I can't alliterate right now. I apologize. But yes, he'll go ahead and greet the young woman. Go ahead and introduce himself. Konnichiwa. My name is Atom Mifune. How do I make your acquaintance? I mean, it is delightful to make your acquaintance.
You may be calm, brother. Will you sit and take the afternoon with me?
Go ahead and nod. Go ahead and take his arms out of his cloak and simply go ahead and take a seat and whatever cushion is provided.
Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Masashi Akinde, called by some the Nightingale's Requiem. It is a pleasure to meet you.
As you, that is quite a interesting name that you have either given to yourself or have taken for yourself.
It has been some time since one of my cousins has shown themselves in this city. I was beginning to think the air did something to drive them away.
Hmm. He goes ahead and points his finger to his nose. And was I that obvious?
No, I merely have a gift for seeing what's really there.
Obviously, a gift that you ought to go ahead and foster.
Yes, quite. At this moment in time, the servant returns. She bows her head deeply as she places down a tray in front of Mifumi. Upon the tray, there is grilled fish, a bowl of good white rice, a small bowl of soup with tofu floating in it. There is also tea and fine sake.
Well, Adam's going to go for the sake first. He definitely wants to go ahead and get a bit of liquid courage in him.
Before you can get to the sake, she takes the bottle in her hands and she warms it. She takes it out of the warming pot. Basically, they normally put sake in a small bowl filled with warm water.
Mhm.
And she will pour you sake into a cup that is provided.
Oh. Thank you? He'll go ahead and accept it.
It is bad luck to take the first drink in a new place from your own hands.
All right. I appreciate looking out for my clumsy hands.
I sense, Master Mifumi, that there is nothing clumsy about your hands.
He goes ahead and simply extends his hand out, palm up towards the Lady Nightingale, and simply says, "Oh, but what do you see?"
She appears to think about that for a few moments before she will finally say, "What do I see? Interesting. I see hands that are practiced. Hands that could be of use before, well, the moon is out."
He goes ahead and brings his hand back to his own side, goes ahead and gives the young woman a scrutinizing look, and goes ahead and says, "I believe I would like some background into this city. It is strange, and obviously I am a stranger. Do you know who the movers and shakers are?"
As a matter of fact, well, he is not here. I do not know if you will meet him, but you stand in his establishment, or the establishment that is run by his family. Pleasant though it is. Allow me to elaborate. My apologies. Sometimes I get wrapped up in the moment in the thought. This city has always been the domain, as it were, of the Kitsune family and their lineage. Ever since the individual in question, the founder of their dynasty, in the form of Lord Zilin, arrived here. Lord Zilin is supposedly the direct child of Onari herself, the nine-tailed fox. But that's old legend. They live for an incredibly long time, you know.
Goes ahead and nods his head, and of course that is the legend. And of course, if you are powerful enough, you can go ahead and declare your age whatever you wish.
Yes, unfortunately, he is incredibly powerful, but the sands of his life are fast running out. So it is that many vultures, she smiles at the usage of the word vultures, gather in order to see whom it is will pick up his mantle when it is that death finally claims him.
And we'll go ahead and finally go ahead and take a sip of his glass. Go ahead and sit it down like right proper in front of him. So you go ahead and see the various factions surrounding our dying lord as vultures. Do you simply say that because they can see the opportunity when they can see it, or do you think something more nefarious? Not that I would assume any nefarious intention from somebody who is of higher rank than me. That would just be foolish.
She smiles and she says, "No, but you have an excellent eye as well as good hands." To answer your question, they, at least one side of this great argument, are very opportunistic. They are here in order to try and snatch a mantle, in order to try and take what I believe are gifts that were not made for them. These are the Black Dragon Society. Then you have the Alabaster or the White Dragon Society, who are here, I think. They wanted Lord. They wanted Lord Zealand. Yes. Wow, it just gets so noisy. They wanted Lord Zealand endorsed their cause before death took him. After all, his word means so much to the courts in wider Asia that if he was to speak of a matter of peace, it is highly likely that peace would be the mantra the courts would follow.
I see, I see. But the dying lord has yet to give his word one way or the other. Is this true?
She shrugs. In all honesty, so few people see him now that it is impossible to say what he has or has not said. His family, his retainers, and the individual whom speaks for him, his mouthpiece, as it were, have not said that he has spoken on the matter, though whether that is true or not, only they know.
He goes ahead
And
and
as
gives
we are,
a. Go ahead.
oh, sorry, she says, as we are messengers, we have not had the great message to carry.
Goes ahead and nods. Yes, yes, yes. Our particular duty to the mother. I am well versed in it. And Adam will go ahead and mimic a. Okay, this is what he's going to do. Adam mimics the words of a man flirting with another woman to go ahead and say, and your eyes are as bright as the moon, but not as big as your. And he goes ahead and cuts himself off.
If it helps, I am known to be brazenly outspoken. I do not mind what people hear.
Goes ahead and nods. Well, it would be awfully poor sport for them to go ahead and cut off their means of communication simply because they did not like the message that was sent.
As I said, in this conflict between dragons, I am happy to merely be a nightingale.
You called yourself a nightingale, and I've not heard the story whether or not you were given that name or you took it for yourself. Is there a deeper meaning in that?
It was a name that was given to me when certain individuals heard my song, and needless to say, they tried to court me, one man after another, until one after another they fell in a duel to my blade. So it was the nightingale, the song became their requiem, thus the nightingale's requiem.
He goes ahead and nods. I see. I see. Have many fall into that song?
A few.
Any that you wish did not?
One should never draw a blade unless one is sure of the course that the blade will take.
So no sorrow, just an understanding that those men, those suitors, made those decisions before they even stepped foot to face you.
Correct. A life that is marred with regret, that is weighed down by sadness, is not a true life.
And I will go ahead and shrug. Never considered myself a spiritual man before. Well, he goes ahead and gestures to himself before the change.
And yet we are of spirit, brother.
He goes ahead and nods. It would be foolish for any of us to go ahead and reject the reality of our eyes and what we feel within our hearts.
Though the heart does sometimes lie, it is a great compass when it tells truth.
Adam, for at this moment, is going to go ahead and take a big portion of his meal, go ahead and like pretty much chunk it into his mouth because again, he's very, very tired. He also hasn't eaten this well in a long time, so he's definitely using like at the feast at his full disposal.
You would swear that you had not seen food in months.
Not food like this, not sauce like this, not spice like this, not meat like this. Looking over to the Nightingale, he goes ahead and says, what is the longest time that you have ever had to go ahead and feed, well, in your other form, just simply worms, bugs, beetles, and salmon on occasion?
She seems to think about that. She says, I will admit that it has been some long time.
He goes ahead and nods. You would live a blessed life if you continued doing so. And I would not suggest cursing yourself to live outside the comforts of civilization for very long.
I shall take Master Malfumi at his word there. After all, if one must live in a cage, at least it should be a gilded one.
Mafumi will go ahead and shrug. There are, well, let's just go ahead and say that there are, as you know, powers much more greater than us and often make decisions which necessitate our decisions, and nobody can really go ahead and say that their fate is totally of their own.
Quite true. Quite true indeed. It is at this moment that the flap of silk will be moved aside, and you'll see three individuals enter into the courtyard space surrounding the koi pond, led by, hold on, let me just change my cam, led by this man who walks in their lead. He's about 6'6". He's huge. He is a rippling muscle despite his age. And he walks towards you. And he will bow very respectfully to both of you.
Adam will go ahead and mimic whatever gestures that Nightingale goes ahead and performs. Again, he understands like mentally what the proper practice should be, but every gesture that he comes up with has this stink of the foreigner.
Okay. She looks at him with a kind of a quirked eyebrow after she inclines her head respectfully, and she says, and to what, I wonder, do I owe the presence of the white boar at my meal table this afternoon? Ha! Interesting that you make such levities. You have been summoned to the palace. I've been sent here to escort you. My. Your master clearly had need of my delicate attentions incredibly sooner than I had been anticipating. Oh, where are my manners? My forgiveness, I must beg. Allow me to do the formal introductions. Naiho Kenshi, this is Adam Malafume. Allow me to introduce you, Master Malafume, to the Silver Boar.
He'll go ahead and like incline his head respectfully. Go ahead and say, to be in your presence like this, I can fully see the strength of your arms.
Interesting, little Tengu. Interesting. However, we do not wish to keep the obsidian dragon waiting. He has made requests. He should not have to ask twice. No, by all means. I was just about done with my tea anyway. Well, Master Malfumi, it has been an absolute pleasure to share your company this afternoon.
And to you, I believe you have been a respite for a weary traveler, and I would take you up on this offer again.
She will bow very, very deftly to you, at which point, yeah. She very, very, very circuitously. You see this because you're looking directly at her, which does this. A piece of paper flicks from from the fingers of her left hand, very, very slightly. If you weren't looking, you wouldn't see it.
Oh, you mean what paper? As that paper just goes ahead and disappears into Adam's cloak?
Yep, that is a good idea.
Yeah, that's just what paper. It appears in her hand for 1 second, another second it's probably in a cushion, and another second Adam is just as deftly stretching out his hand, probably to go ahead and reach for yet another pork roll, but in the other, and just 2 fingers into the back pocket.
Wonderful. She will then stand and brush herself down before she walk. You see the fact that her sword is brought to her as she walks to the door. For the record, if you came in armed, they would have taken your arms very politely and put them on a rack.
Oh yeah. He did come in armed.
Stand.
It is a very simple dagger, though, not the elaborate sword that is there.
Okay. She will nod her head to Malfoy once more before she ducks out underneath the silk hangings with the samurai escort.
All right. Can I assume the silk goes ahead and provides a bit of privacy now from the rest of the establishment?
You could easily go to the privies to relieve yourself.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and do that. We're gonna go to the privies, and once Adam is, assured of some level of privacy, he'll bring out the slip of paper and see what message is written there.
It says, "Words half spoken." You might want to write this down for the record.
Okay.
I give warning. People have not been writing down my really cryptic plot hints, and they're getting butthurt when they have to phrase them.
Words half spoken. Half spoken. Not had spoken or have spoken. Half. 1/2 spoken.
Those who hear the whispers from the throne.
Those who hear the whispers from the phone.
From the throne, yep. Sorry, I have this written down, I just have to get it. But yeah, those who hear the whispers from the throne. Wearing masks to suit their purposes. It's not a haiku for the record, but it is poetic. And that is what it says.
All right. Words half spoken. Those who hear whispers from the throne wearing masks to suit their purpose. Is that right?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Cool.
That is 100.
That being done, he'll slip the piece of paper back into his waistband, and presumably will go ahead and relieve himself, literally, and because it's the privy bathroom, right?
Yep.
Okay. He goes ahead and does so, and he re-enters the establishment more proper. But all he wants to do is go ahead and get an inn or a room for himself. I'm not looking to do much of anything else in this scene unless you've got things planned.
Nope. You'll be able to acquire rooms. Once again, this place is free for all of your kind until they find more permanent situation. You will be informed that the very polite little Kitsune whom you were speaking with, for that is what she is, will inform you that if you wish to publicly make yourself known, that you have to go and make an appointment with the regent of the throne, and that they can accede to an arrangement because it is their cousin.
Oh, okay. He'll go ahead and ask if an appointment cannot be made for him.
She will say that an appointment definitely can be made, but it will not take place until after the Falling Leaves Festival because their entire family is incredibly busy.
All right, he'll go ahead and nod and simply go ahead and say, Thank you very, very much for your hospitality. I will go ahead and avail, that's the word I wanted to use. Avail me of your festival.
Her name is Shinumi, for the way, if you wish to interact.
Shin-new-me, right?
And
Cool.
with that, I think we can bring this scene to a close. So thank you, player, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been another scene in Memories of the Cherry Blossom Throne. Have a pleasant evening.